Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Master Phil in your corner with your host, Master Phil.
Well, here I am, Master Phil in your corner with my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh Friedman in the undefeated media studios. Now, haven't been on for a while, been a little remiss. Well, there's a lot of things going on. I'm going to catch everybody up in my life, and then we're going to get down to business here.
Absolutely.
So, what are we talking about? Well, I wound up getting a full-time position at the community college.
Nice.
So I'm teaching 7 classes there.
Nice.
Prior to securing that in the summer, I got hired by an online university.
Nice.
So I'm teaching 2 classes there. So kind of busy. Now, what happened was, I was teaching, holding classes at Odyssey Gym in Waldwick.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tried to keep the whole group training thing going, but I had to shut it down. I was looking at it, I had to do a lot of administrative work because prior when I had the big studio, I had people doing all that stuff for me, the billing, the attendance, so forth. Now, when you're by yourself and it's small, you don't really have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that plus traveling to and fro, and it wound up, taking about 20 hours or more out of my life a week. So, I had to make a decision, and the decision was to, shut things down. So actually, I have classes till the end of this week, selling off my extra kettlebells, so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And, but what am I doing? Oh, the other thing that I looked at this, and this was pretty crazy because I'm on this app called Burn Along. And I've been on them since 2016. They use all my self-defense tactics, my whole Survival Strong, what this book is based on, okay? And everyone should get one of these books because it will save your life. The whole staff at Michael Kors does my program. It's all the 6 different modules. So they sold it into there. And I kind of didn't pay that much attention to it. Yeah, I throw up a video here and there once in a while, and then I do a workout, film it, put it up, title it, so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then when COVID hit, I noticed that I got an increase by 473% the first month.
Mm-hmm.
The next month, it went up another 279%. I took pictures of stuff I couldn't believe, right? So I'm like, I better get down to this. So, during the whole COVID lockdown, I was filming everything. I have 150 videos up there. I have no idea. I have so many up there. and then, this year came through, and in July when I got busy with getting hired by the college and so forth, I kind of put it by the wayside, and then teaching at the gym, I was unable to really put many videos up. Then October happened, and I saw my deposit from them. I was like, "Whew." I haven't put anything up there in months, and I'm making this kind of money. I better start getting on this. So I decided to, get rid of the one that was losing. No more investing in the gym, and just do my private lessons, teach at the college, and make videos. So
I love the way you say it. Make some videos.
It's going good. I'm going to work out anyway, so I may as well just share it with people.
Yeah.
And we have such a variety of training with the bag work, self-defense, knife work, kettlebells, obviously the body weight. Like this morning, I filmed a calisthenic and kettlebell Tabata. Did the Calis, circuit of those, and then I did 4 rounds of a Tabata with a kettlebell.
Nice.
So, get you going.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the reasons that you haven't seen us much here, but now we're going to be delving back into the podcast, and we got a whole bunch of really cool subjects to address. So
while we're on the subject, though, if you want to work one-on-one with Master Phil, what's the best way now? Normally we send you to a website for a program or something. What's the best way to work out one-on-one?
You want to go one-on-one with me? So go to philross.com.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
There
going
it
to
is.
have a, and we have the Calendly should be up there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna tweak the site.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if anything seems confusing, I'm sure your
Just
email
contact me.
address is
Just
on
email
there.
me.
Yes,
Just
just
email me.
email Phil.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, now he's doing these one-on-one sessions with people virtually all over the world.
Well, the other thing is too is that I also have the Body Bell Method certification, which is levels 1 and 2 is
Mhm.
approved by both ACE and NASM for credits,
Nice.
and they're available online. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, we're doing some cool stuff. So let's get down to business here. We had a situation occur recently,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Self-defense was on trial here.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to discuss with our guest, who will be bringing in momentarily, how this could affect us adversely, because we have to be able to defend ourselves, and what the media has done, and actually some of these leaders have done to stop us from defending ourselves, and trying to position it in such a way that's just, honestly, to me, disgusting and abhorrent on every level. So, without further ado, we're bringing in a repeat guest. This guy is awesome, Dr. Jack Kerwick. And Jack, come on in, baby.
Hello, guys. Gentlemen.
Hey, just before we get into this, what do you got any good Thanksgiving plans?
Now, just going to my mother's, be with my my brother, my uncle will be there, my son will be with me. And then over the weekend, I'll be seeing some other family members, my girlfriend. So it's all good.
Oh,
it's all
awesome,
good.
Awesome. Yeah,
and happy
I think
Thanksgiving.
Yes, and happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to talk about today is the ability for one to defend themselves, and we're going to address the situation with Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. 17-year-old kid. Listen, I was 17 once, and actually now almost 3 times. Actually, yeah, definitely. So, maybe he's full of vim and vigor, and he felt the need to go and protect this area. I'll tell you honestly, though, straight up, as far as self-defense goes, as far as avoidance,
yeah,
he shouldn't have been there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's just say he's just a dopey kid thinking he's going to save the world or whatever, and he probably shouldn't have been there. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, you know what? You probably, if that was my 17-year-old son, I wouldn't have let him go.
Right.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, like, you said you were 17 once, I was 17 once, but if I'm going to be truthful, this kid was a better 17-year-old than I was. And what I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, just from the little bit that I've heard of this kid, when I was 17, I was on the street getting myself into some trouble. This kid got himself into some trouble, but his heart was in the right place.
Right. And I will agree with that 100%. And I also agree with you 100% on how I was when I was 17.
Yeah.
I was always getting in trouble. And, I didn't need, me at 17, there's no way I should have had any type of rifle in my hand, run around guarding something. I don't know what I would have done. He, in my estimation, really demonstrated great restraint.
Oh, I mean,
great restraint.
I had a conversation in the gym today with a guy, older guy, who said, he was just going on what he's heard from
and that's what we need to talk about.
And we will. You're right. Yeah, and I'm all about that. And he said, I don't know how he got off. I said, well, because it's a clear case of self-defense. So you got to say, he wasn't from the impression I get from everything I've seen, this kid was not some kind of tough guy. He wasn't going down there to be macho, right? No. I mean, when I was 17 years old, I would have been macho, right?
Me too.
Yeah. Right? I would have been down there with the wrong frame of mind. He said, he almost sounds like a Boy Scout. I mean, he goes into his city, and it was his city, It was
Yes.
where his father lived, and he's down
Mhm.
there painting stores that these scumbag rioters have sprayed graffiti all over. Right? He's down there
Mhm.
trying to protect innocent civilians from having their property destroyed. Probably,
Yep.
I think he knew CPR too. I think he was
Yeah.
down there offering help to anyone who was
Yes,
harmed.
he actually administered first aid to several of the rioters.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
this
I
is the
wasn't
kind of
aware.
guy. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't have done that. My
No,
first aid would have been remove my foot from their head.
exactly.
That would be my
No,
first aid.
exactly. This kid was not a tough guy, right?
No.
I mean, he didn't have that mentality at all. I mean, he really does sound like a genuinely good kid. I mean, we need
Yes.
more Kyle Rittenhouses in
Yes.
this
Yes.
country. But I
Yeah.
agree with you that had he been my kid, there's no way he was getting anywhere near that. Tell you what,
No.
I'm not
Right.
getting anywhere near that.
Right.
You
Because
know?
I know what I'll do. People say, "Oh,
Right.
I'm not getting involved in that," because I
No.
know what's going to happen. Look, unless you're doing something directly to my family or my home or something like
Right.
that,
Right.
I'm just going to stay away
Yep. Me too.
because
Right.
it's not going to end. It's not going to end well.
It's not going to end well. And like I was saying, in all truthfulness, and I'm just being candid,
Mhm.
if more people had the mentality that we have about, defending the decent, then that would
Mhm.
be another consideration. Like if I knew
That's
a
another
bunch of
consideration.
us were going to be there
Yes.
to protect property, that's something I would give serious consideration
Yeah.
getting involved in. But I'm not going to go into a hot spot
No.
not really knowing what's happening because like you said, I mean, it's not so much I'm worried about what they're going to do to me. To be truthful, this is not tough guy talk. This is just
No.
how we train. I'm worried about,
Yes.
I'm going to be Kyle Rittenhouse times 5, but without the gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly what I'm talking
yeah,
about. Well, I have been in those situations because I have worked as a security agent,
yes,
and I have been in these hot spots. So I know what's going to happen under fire.
right,
And most of them I did. They were unarmed.
right,
Um,
okay,
but so it didn't get to that level. But man, it there were times it got very, very ugly,
right, right,
very
yeah,
ugly.
exactly. I mean, I
And
don't go. I was invited earlier in the year to go to a nightclub with some people I
yeah.
hadn't seen in years. It was in Trenton, but not where I grew up. And
Mhm.
they were going. I mean, it's not a bad club as far as I can determine, but I said
Yeah.
no. I just
Yeah.
wasn't going to go because I'm not going to be in a situation where the potential for trouble is there. I'm just
Right.
going to avoid. So again, like you said, situational awareness. That's the first step towards self protection, and
Yep.
that's what I live by.
Well, it's funny in my book here, Survival Strong, which I
Right.
can't believe I have not really promoted this thing at all.
Yeah.
Here's my book, Survival Strong. I talk about 95% of situations can be avoided just by not
Okay.
being there.
That's right.
Okay, stay out of harm's way.
Right.
Assess situations prior to and during. Know when you have to leave. There's been
Right.
situations I know. You know what? This isn't going the way that I want it to go. I better get out of here. I don't
And
think that Kyle Rittenhouse had that mindset or that type of training to
I don't think
realize
so
that he
either.
was in a bad situation. I think he genuinely was there to help, and he got attacked. I mean, like the thing that really gets me are these bubble-headed left-wing loudmouths that are they're still spewing pure lies. I
Right.
hope he
That's it.
sues the living daylights out of them.
Me too.
I mean, you have who do we got there? We got, oh gosh. Well, we start with the meathead. I mean, the president in charge. We got Biden, Colin Pencilneck, Anderson Cooper,
Right.
Ayanna Presley, Corey Bush, Joy Reid, Ilhan Omar, Gwen Moore, Jackie Spire, Eric Swalwell. We got a whole list of these people that are just, they're public figures. They've been, they're elected officials. They're talking heads in the media, and they're making this into a racial issue.
Right.
which is abhorrent on every level. First of all, it makes no sense. How do you
Right.
call someone a white supremacist when he only shot white people, from what I can tell, right? And then they're also perpetuating this lie that he took a gun across state lines,
Right.
okay, which he never did.
Yep.
That never occurred. And he also, the laws are different state by state. He had the right to be armed
That's right.
in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He had
And
the right.
and from what I understand, he was retreating, and
Yes.
he did not even have the obligation in that state to retreat. It was a
Right.
stand your ground.
It's a stand your ground.
State.
Stand your ground. Why don't we pull up some of the clips of the bubble-headed reporters spewing?
The stuff right here.
The video. Do we have the video?
1 second.
Okay. So we have a video here showing some of the lies being espoused by our illustrious media.
Right.
And then you wonder why people have zero trust in the media.
While I'm getting this loaded for you, because Jack already kind of mentioned it, all the stuff that we said is great. Like, we're talking about before and after the situation, but if you watch the video of the exact situation, he's full out sprinting
He's
in the
running
opposite
away.
direction.
Yeah, he's running away.
Like
Right.
they didn't have to chase him down.
Jack, let me ask something. How many times you run away from a fight?
Right. Exactly. I mean, this guy's like doing marathon running. He's and he didn't have to do that legally. He could have stood his ground. The very fact that he was retreating, in and of itself, speaks volumes. It shows he didn't want that trouble.
Yeah. It's really funny. Let's talk about here. You got that bonehead Mark Ruffalo, good actor, but he should just leave his speaking to when he's got a script in front of him.
Right.
He's calling the one guy affectionately Jojo Rosenbaum. That's the guy who sexually molested 5 boys ages 9 to 11. He's calling him Jojo. I mean.
That's
really?
In all truthfulness, I have and we can get into this some other time, but over the last year, roughly, I've more or less seceded from politics. I became so disenchanted with the whole system. I mean, Republicans, Democrats, Trump, everyone and everything in 2020. 2020 was the year that the scales fell from my eyes. I can never unsee it. With COVID internment and then the orgies of violence, riots in hundreds of cities, billions of dollars of damage, everything just from start to last. So I just nowadays, I try to remain as aloof as possible from the media. But just recently, I couldn't help but to hear about the Rittenhouse trial. And I think because I am so much into self-defense, it's just something that really resonated with me.
Well, yeah, it does bring it back to you because you know what? You have to be able to defend yourself. And self-defense was on trial.
That's right.
Not Kyle Rittenhouse. And the thing is that these guys had nothing, and they want to take our ability to exercise self-defense away from us. That's why they're making it into a racial issue. That's why they're doing this whole white supremacist nonsense. I mean, look, there's nothing racial about this. Let's just get that off the table. And these guys are 1,000% irresponsible for even trying to make it a racial issue. So let's pull up this clip. Sure. Yeah. Let's pull up this clip.
Mark Dice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mainstream media mockingbirds, celebrity scum, and Marxist members of Congress are all having a complete meltdown over justice being served in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, with him being found not guilty on all charges. And one of the talking points that they're all parroting is that the verdict would have been different if Kyle was black.
Because he has the privilege of whiteness. Please understand that if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, today's outcome would have been different.
Had a black kid committed the same crimes that Kyle Rittenhouse did, he would in fact be dead. He would not have been given a presumption of innocence.
There was a lot of talk about if he happened to be black, what would this be? How would this have ended?
And I want to pose the question of what is that result if it is a black person, a black youth with an illegal gun that comes to a rally, a protest, say,
Wrong.
and then they feel scared and it ends up in a shooting, would we have these same results?
Well, we know the answer to that. Remember Timothy Simpkins from Arlington, Virginia? He's that teen who brought a gun to school and then after got into a fight, pulled it out and then shot the kid he was fighting with and accidentally shot the teacher and another student. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, not attempted murder, and his bail was set at $25,000, and he was let out of jail the very next day.
Okay,
Kyle
good.
Rittenhouse was charged with 2 counts of...
Okay. So now we're getting that, but now there's a picture that I put up that I gave you, right?
I got 2 pictures.
Yeah, 2 pictures. Let's with the young man who defended himself.
This one right here.
Yes. Okay, here. Yeah, pull that one up, please.
This one. That one's up.
No.
All right, the other one.
Yeah.
Was that one of the guys that Rittenhouse smoked?
Yes, that was him. But
Okay.
this kid. Okay, so this young man on trial at the same time as Kyle Rittenhouse,
Yes, right.
young black guy, and he was acquitted as well for self-defense.
I heard about. I didn't look into it, but I heard about that. Yeah.
As well, he should have been. Okay.
Right.
So this kind of throws out their theory, and as a matter of fact, that one bubblehead from MSLSD was telling an abject lie.
Yeah.
He did not carry an illegal gun across state lines.
Right.
It's wrong. Now, I hope. Okay, we can get rid of that stuff.
Okay.
All right. I hope that Kyle Rittenhouse sues the living snot out of these
Me too.
guys.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Go for broke, man.
go for broke, man. And he's all
Yeah.
lawyered up already.
Yeah. Well,
So-
apparently, from what I understand, he doesn't say much because he can't, but there are attorneys working on this as we speak. And I hope he just crushes it. Yeah.
Yep.
Bill, I got to say the thing, what has started to kind of bother me about people on our side, and I'm thinking, primarily about the influencers, the talk radio hosts, the scribblers, is that they continue to perpetuate this fiction that there's a real dialogue to be had with these people. There's not.
There isn't. No.
Right? They are liars and they are cowards, and there's really no other way to. You're not going to revoke our right to self-defense. So they want to have a debate over gun control. Here's our position. No. You want to have a debate over whether we can eradicate predators that are preying on innocents, on ourselves, on our loved ones? Here's our position. No, you can't do it. You're not going to do it. You're going to do it over our dead bodies. In order to end our lives, you better be ready to go there yourselves. That's the argument.
That 100%. Because I mean, if you're gonna go say, well, we have death from these guns, we got to get rid of them. Well, how about getting rid of an SUV that just killed 6 people and injured 40? Okay, I mean, and again, you know what? I don't care about the race of that guy, but if it were the other way, that it would be all over, right? And I'll tell you, race should be irrelevant. This is just ludicrous that we're even discussing this. This is 2021. Okay.
Well,
this
the reason
has
why.
come so far.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
It's that there is a racism industrial complex that I've been referring to it as that for years now in my writings. It has paid immeasurably to the agents of the racism industrial complex. Everyone knows it. The agents of the racism industrial complex, they only target those who they think are easy marks. And that's usually whites who are apologetic. It could be blacks who they want to label Uncle Toms or some other pejorative, right? So again, they're motivated by cowardice and greed and dishonesty. And this is not I'm not making an ad hominem kind of, fallacious argument here. This is the God's honest truth. And
100%.
And I will not any longer engage in any dialogue or any pretense of dialogue with people who I recognize to be cowards and liars. I won't, I'm just not doing it. So, like I said, people, if you really think that you're going to, revoke the right of decent people to defend themselves, then you better be prepared to reap the whirlwind of that, because that's going to be coming eventually, right? No,
Yes.
listen, right? People like you and I, we don't look for any trouble with anyone. We were getting into that, right? We avoid circumstances where we think there's a potential for trouble. But God help you if you come into our zone and jeopardize not just ourselves, right? Not just our loved ones, but shit. If you're in my orbit and I'm jeopardizing an innocent person who can't defend himself or herself, then you better be ready for what comes next. And if you have to take me out, I'm willing to go out that way.
Yeah, and me as well. You saw the situation with the guy in a wheelchair in New York City. Oh my God, it's disgusting.
No,
maybe you could try to find that, Doug.
Wheelchair.
Okay. Guy in a wheelchair. Guy was attacked. Guy in a wheelchair the other night was attacked in New York City by two men and a woman. They beat the daylights out of him, pulled him out of his wheelchair, kicking him everything, stole his backpack, his iPhone, and people are standing around there watching it.
And filming it?
Yeah, here it is. One day ago.
Yeah, watch this. Yeah, one day ago. Watch this stuff.
Hold on.
Watch
Let me
Your
get
blood's
it
gonna
going.
boil.
Let me get this going here. I hope this is the right one.
I mean, unless this guy said he was going to pull a gun on him or something, there's no reason for this.
Wow.
When we work together.
We got a quick ad.
Oh,
Quick ad.
No, it's good to work together. Working together is nice.
All right, we want the jobs. There we go. All right. There we go. There we go.
A man in a wheelchair was beaten up and robbed in the Bronx, and police want to find the people responsible. Surveillance video shows the attack November 8th around 2:30 in the morning at the corner of East Tremont and Anthony Avenues. Officers say the 39-year-old victim got into an argument with a woman on the sidewalk. Then she and three men attacked him, knocking him out of his wheelchair. You can see a person in a yellow jacket grab his backpack, which had his cell phone and $800. Police say the victim had some injuries but refused medical treatment. If you recognize the attackers in this video, call NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline.
So, there you go.
Let's go get him, Phil.
And everybody's standing around there watching them beat the fight went on longer. I mean, the abuse went on longer. Yeah, they cut some of it out.
Wow.
All right, I'm just letting you know that went on. They had him on the ground. Hey, what's up, Harden? They threw him on the ground. They kicked him. They smacked him around. I mean, it's a guy in a wheelchair. And all these people are standing around watching that?
To that guy's credit, he was swinging back.
Yeah, I know. I got to give him he did. And he got hit first.
I noticed something else too in that video, at least from what I was able to determine. I don't know how accurate my perception was here, but it looked like they didn't move in on him close enough, because being seated as he was, he had his balance. Had they come in and he known what he was doing, he could have gotten one of them right by his throat and hung on. But your whole point is, it goes to show you just the unmanliness, the cowardice. And these are the kinds of predators who we train to take care of if they threaten ours.
Yeah. And the thing is that again, we're not going to look for anything, but we have to protect and people don't understand this. People have to understand this. I think we used to, but you know what? Freedom is something that's cherished and needs to be protected. And if you're not strong, if you're not willing to defend yourself and your loved ones and your property, family, and so forth, you're going to lose it.
That's right.
The chance of losing it is very high. And I'm not willing to give that up.
No, and it's fun. It's interesting that you say that. Not in the sense that it doesn't resonate with me. Of course it does. But I'm offering when I talk to guys who I run into at the gym and stuff, I offer them, like, I'm offering this stuff for free to work with them a little bit, right? And it's like, it's not a priority for a lot of people,
No.
and all the more power to you, I guess. I mean, good that you're not, that you're able to live a reasonably decent life. You're not having any issues. But man, I mean, given that things could turn on a dime, if someone's offering you this stuff, wouldn't you want to at least get some exposure to it?
Yep.
It's
You know
like
what? It only takes one time.
It only takes one time.
It takes one time to ruin or destroy your life. One time.
Right. Or if you're not, if you're out with your woman or you're out with your, I mean, don't you at least want to know that you have what it takes to do, at least do what you can to protect them so that they could get away, right? I'm not saying we're invincible, but it's just that you have to have your mind in that place.
Yes. I'm
and
going to tell you your mistake. Yeah. I'm going to tell you the mistake you're making.
What's that?
Don't give it for free.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give it away for free. Yeah, no, make it, charge them.
Yeah,
because
well, eventually I'm going to do that. It's just because I'm
you should.
So I would just, no, I appreciate that. And I'm going
to tell you why.
I'm
going to give you a couple of reasons why. Well, one is that if it's free, they don't feel it has a value. And then if you're going to them and offer it, they feel like they're doing you the favor. Okay. Now, yeah. The other thing is, I did there was a number of years ago when I studied on Hocus, there was a robbery there. Guy came in, one guy with a screwdriver, tied up the three women in the shop, held them with a sharpened screwdriver, tied them up, robbed the place, whatever, and then leaves. So I was pretty upset by it. And I said, this is my town. Gosh, I wish I'd known what was going on, at the time, but I didn't. So what I did was I offered a free self-defense seminar, 3 hours. Okay. I paid for advertising for it. I put up flyers and everything, right? Free by me, guy who writes books, professional bodyguard, everything, right?
Right.
Nobody registered.
Unreal, isn't it? Wow.
Right. So I said, I will never do anything free again. And I was just trying to do it as good as my heart. It cost me money to help them out, and nobody took up on it. So you know what? That's the last time I ever did anything for free. And now, I always get paid for my gigs.
No, I appreciate that advice. I never even thought about it like that. Yeah. Because what I say to some of these people who I talk with, I said, this whole past year or since March of 2020, we've had millions of people walking around hiding behind these face diapers, right?
Yeah.
Not leaving their homes, keeping away from others. I mean, fearful of just fearful of getting sick, fearful of dying. Well, but you're not showing any of that same fear when it comes to the possibility of being murdered or just beaten to death.
Look at the murder rates. The murder rates are up 30% in every major city.
Yeah.
I mean, and they said, they went down a little. They went down in New York a little bit. Okay, they went down because a lot of people are dead already.
Yeah.
So of course,
that's right. Going down from what?
Right. They're going down from from a 20-year high. So these are things that this is real. And what's to stop someone from coming into your house? Right. What do you think? Listen, let me tell you something. The police are there in minutes when seconds count.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a huge police supporter. I train police. I friends, family, so forth. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that you have to be self-sufficient. And this is a problem with what I see going on. People are not being self-sufficient. Just look at the whole situation now with the past 23 months, 22 months, whatever it's been, that people look for someone else to protect them. They're looking to the government to tell them what to do and to provide protection and provide food and provide money and everything else. You know what? You have to protect yourself. You have to be self-sufficient.
Right.
And learning self-defense, learning how to handle yourself is part of being self-sufficient. Exactly. And I just don't know why there are not people lined up to be training with you, me. Well, I got them lined up right now, but but it's.
Well, I've been getting people in. I mean, believe it or not, I've only been doing this for a short bit, and people are taking. I mean, there are quite a few people taking me up on it, but there's a lot of people who you could tell they're not. It's not a priority for them. And I'm talking guys, who lift weights, guys who are in reasonably decent shape, and they're still not. They're still not thinking along those lines. And you probably, I'm sure, I don't need to tell you this too. There's even guys in the martial arts whose heads still aren't in the right place. They're not thinking life or death. No. They're thinking, sparring or
going to a tournament or whatever.
Tournament. Right. But it's so important. And when you do train in a warrior art, right? And martial means of or pertaining to war.
Pertaining to war.
Pertaining to war. It just fundamentally alters your whole worldview. And it's not just your view of violence. That just trickles over. It imbues your whole worldview. And but for the better.
100%.
Right? I mean, it makes you more confident, more aware. Like I said, you and I would not have gotten ourselves in the situation Kyle Rittenhouse did. Because you could tell his mind just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right.
And no, it wasn't. He I don't think he realized what he was getting into.
Right.
And here, I just this audio's, I can't hear him too well. One of the other things that we have to understand is just the awareness aspect. Okay. Yeah. I tell my daughter, she walks up to the bus stop and she's not allowed to be on her phone. She's not allowed to be texting. The phone has to be in the bag. And I throw an eye on her walking up to the bus stop, make sure, because you know what? People come flying down the street and you're sitting there texting, you don't know. And I said, you always keep your head on a swivel.
That's right. Okay? That's right.
You're out in public. And you know what? These poor people that got killed by that maniac in the SUV in Waukesha, right?
Right.
How come, I'm not saying how, but you know what? They should have, or how many would have survived if they were really paying attention to what's going on around them?
Yeah.
Yes, again, I don't want to come off the wrong way.
No,
my heart goes out to them. I'm disgusted. I'm hurt. This whole situation is just abhorrent.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying, in these situations, when I'm out like that in any situation, I'm constantly scanning. Yep. I'm looking for things. And one of the things that happened when it wasn't with a person, it was with an animal. I was down at the beach and I noticed that the stingrays were zipping around, lots of stingrays. And I'm like, they're like almost hit me. So I grabbed my kid and I go, come on, let's get out of the water. So I went over to the lifeguards and you see, stingrays are one of the favorite foods of sharks.
Oh,
and I noticed there was a ton of them zipping all over, right? So I go to the lifeguard and I go, listen, just let you know, there's a bunch of stingrays flying around there. I almost got clipped a couple of times. And they knew what I know. And they called everyone out of the water. 5 minutes later, the music came on.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's at Point Pleasant. Yeah. So a shark came in. I saw it coming. Again, being aware.
Right. Absolutely.
Being aware.
Yeah. I was at the gym in the parking lot before I was doing something before I went in there, and this woman I know from the gym, she's walking from the gym to her car. Now it's bright daylight, right? It's a little shopping strip. She's like this the whole time down her phone. So the next time I saw her, I said, you walked past me, your eyes were glued on that phone the whole time. Again, I mean, it's not that anything would have happened, but something could have happened, and she never would have seen it coming from a mile away.
Well, here, even if it's not crime, if there's somebody on their cell phone and they're driving in a parking lot, many people get hit while they're on their phone texting. They get hit by somebody else on their phone texting in a car. That's just common sense for safety. And again, when you train and you have that mindset, you're thinking of what could happen. I tell people, I go, I had this crystal ball. My crystal ball tells the future. Okay. Right. And it's just based upon experience. when you put yourself in a situation, you want to be alert. You know,
Right.
you don't want to go out and get wasted so you can't protect
Right.
yourself or control yourself. You don't want to be so disengaged. You're on your phone like this and you're walking through a parking lot and you get run over by a car. Or
Right.
if you're in a park texting or you know, you got your earbuds on, bopping around, somebody comes up from behind and cracks you in the head. You know,
Right.
these are things that training in the martial arts, the self-defense aspects of the martial arts makes you attuned to.
Exactly.
And these are the things that are going to save your life. It's mindset. And this mindset is something that gets instilled with your training, and you get the confidence from training. Look, if you know that you can drop somebody with an axe hand or a palm heel strike or a knee to the groin or elbow to the head or something, that's pretty empowering.
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. No, it most certainly is. And, you know, so I agree with you that you see the world differently when you train in a real martial art. You just do.
Yes.
Because it's not, and I try to explain this to people, it's not just about the physicality.
No.
You know, it's at least as much, more so probably even psychological. It's mental as well. And it results in a fundamental transformation of the person. If it's done right, you know, if it's not done for purely sportive purposes or so, you know, for sake of tournaments or cardio activity, if you're really training to deal with predators, with
Yes.
dangerous human beings, it changes everything. It
Well,
even
you know,
changes how you move. It changes how you walk.
Yes, yes. And here's the thing too, is that a lot of people don't realize that, you know, when they're faced with a predator, you brought up a good word, a predator,
Yeah.
they don't think like you and I.
That's right.
They have the predatory mindset. They think they can subdue you. They want to subdue you. That's their goal. They want to vanquish you.
Right.
You know, you're not going to reason with them. There's
Sure.
no reasoning with them at all. You just have to act decisively and with
Ruthlessly.
purpose.
Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
and ruthlessly. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I have you know, I'm sure you know you've seen some of these guys, some of these, you know, say combatives guys on YouTube.
Mhm.
And there's one guy, decent sized guy, he's a Krav Maga guy. I don't know what his name is. I don't know how big his channel is, but so I'm like, you know, he was like teaching something on one of his videos, like how to make someone submit someone who's attacking you. And it was like a wrist lock or something like that. I'm thinking,
Why?
dude, yeah. I mean, if someone's, you know, I mean, if someone's coming at you with intention, I'm not about making them submit. You know, I'm about, you know, I'm about hospitalized. I'm about critically injuring, maiming.
So you can't get up. Well,
Yeah.
you know, the other thing is that there are plenty.
Incapacitated, whichever
Yeah,
one you-
incapacitated, so you can get away. I mean, the thing is that there are incidents that happen when a trained black belt will, you know, temporarily disable someone or disarm them, right?
Right.
And then they don't finish the job or escape, and the guy
Right.
pulls a gun or a knife. Yep.
Yeah.
And they get stabbed because you didn't do a good enough job to stop them. You want to just subdue them. Now there's a difference. You know, that's why there's a difference between training police officers and security and training civilians.
Big
okay?
time. Right.
Because that's why, and also these, you know, armchair quarterbacks don't realize how difficult it is to try to restrain someone without hurting them.
Yeah. Right. So police actually have a tougher job because
Far
you
more
are not
difficult.
under that obligation.
No,
Right.
far more difficult.
Police are supposed to bring him in. You and I don't. You and I are not subject to that same constraint.
No.
So you absolutely no. So I think the context makes all the difference in the training. Right. The training modality has to be suited to the context.
Yes.
But when we're talking just, you know, civilians, then everything has to be on the table. You know, and I was just talking to a woman today at the gym. I said, listen, you know, I said, you might hear you often hear actually some of these combatives instructors, tell their students, do this, that, and then run. And I say, not necessarily, because like you said, if you, I mean, let's say you really phase someone, you stun the guy, and then you take off, you just bought him time to get back into the fight.
Yep.
And if he does have a weapon, or even if he doesn't have a weapon, he can chase you. Maybe he can outrun you. And I mean, I got a knee thing. It feels great now, but if I'm moving too quickly, my knee could give way.
Well,
So for me,
yeah,
I'm
and the other thing is,
neutralizing.
yeah, and the other thing is, you just lost the element of surprise. Now he knows you know what to do.
Yep.
And he's not. You're not going to catch him off guard. You know what?
Right.
You have one shot. God gives you one shot to win a situation.
That's right.
Okay?
That's
So
right.
you better take advantage of it.
Take advantage.
Better take advantage of it.
But you mentioned God, and I've thought quite a bit. I've been writing about this too. I'm always, and since we're talking about self-defense, I think it's all relevant.
Yes.
There is a difference, a fundamental difference, a difference in kind between a warrior and a tough guy. And I think what distinguishes warriors, and I think there's evidence of this all throughout history, regardless of culture, what distinguishes warriors from so-called tough guys and thugs is that being a warrior has a spiritual dimension to it, right?
Yes.
I mean, we are godly. We believe in God. We believe that even though we're training to become as physically adept as we can, what ultimately underwrites our overall world orientation is a belief in something that transcends us, right? So there is meaning in the world. The world is furnished with meaning. It's not just subjective. And so the warrior has something in which he believes, whereas the tough guy is just a thug.
Well, you see, this is the thing when someone says brings that up. A warrior, true warrior, tries to avoid war because he knows the repercussions of it.
That's right. He knows
A
how
tough guy
it can be.
Yep, a tough guy or a thug will look for it because there's something wrong with them. They're not operating within the constraints of civilization. They're not operating as a godly person or with the betterment of civilization in mind.
Right. Correct. And
they
that's
have
why
some type of psychosis.
And that's why I think too, and I firmly believe this. I would not be saying it if I didn't. All of these people, these propagandists in the media, these politicians who have just defamed. I mean, just scandalously, shamelessly defamed this young man, this Kyle Rittenhouse. They themselves are godless. They're not tough at all. I mean, but yet they want to back the thugs. They want to back the rioters and the arsonists and those who just prey upon innocents. That just really reveals their own godlessness.
It truly does. Because, I look at some of these people and I always want to say, gosh, what would they do if they were faced with a thug?
Right.
What would they do if someone came after them? How would they handle that? Would they then defend this person that they want this bail reform for or this excuse for? Would they do that, or would they feel compelled to defend themselves, or just run away and leave their wife, their child, their mother there or something? What would they do? I often wonder because I see they act brave behind that microphone and in front of that TV camera, but to me, I look in their eyes, they're cowards.
Total cowards. And I think we do get the answer to your question when we stop and consider, and I'm talking about both the blacks and the whites and everyone else in the media, who are these elitists who want to sound like they're down with the cause. We know how they actually live. They don't live amongst, they don't live within the ghetto. They don't live amongst the underclass. We know where they live, and we also know how they respond when the crime starts to spill over into their affluent neighborhoods.
Where are the police?
Where are the police? That's right.
Oh yeah, you had them
Very
defunded.
at the
Was
very
that you talking about defunding the police?
That's exactly. That's right. So in addition to being liars, cowards, godless, they're also hypocrites. Total
That
fraud.
turns my stomach. Yep, frauds, fake, phony frauds.
You see that Chris Cuomo, who he's when you played the montage, you saw Cuomo there.
Yeah.
And he's
I thought that was Fredo. That's
it. Yeah. And he's there, with this real serious look, this real pensive expression as people are playing the race card. And they, this guy, and he's another one who tries to act like a tough guy. Someone calls him Fredo and he tries to get up in the guy's face. You know why? Because he has some muscle on him or something.
Yeah.
It's just, but these people really are, and again, I'm not calling names. I'm not using these names casually here.
No, you're not doing it flippantly.
No, I'm saying this with conviction. I mean, I think this is this is as accurate an assessment of these clowns as we're going to find.
And you see, this is why you can't have dialogue with them, because when you're sitting there dealing with someone who purposefully lies to push their point across, which they have, they're trying to strip us of our ability to defend ourselves.
That's right.
And even they'll make someone make an assertion. Well, that you're trying to defend your property. That you can't take someone's life for defending their property. Well, I'm going to look at it this way. That person's willing to risk their life to take my property. So I'll look at it a different way. So if you're trying to take something on my person, it's not going to work out good for you.
No, absolutely not. I know it's I mean, I listen to this stuff. And I'm almost astonished sometimes that people think like this. Like you think it'd be so basic. No, listen, you don't want to get your head blown off. You don't go after a guy with a gun in his hand. You just don't do it. I tell you what, don't go after anybody because you don't know who's capable of what. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yes, leave other people alone. And you got to look at it this way. Why are they out there running around destroying cities, firebombing, doing all kinds of crazy stuff? What are you trying to prove?
Right.
And what do you think you're going to accomplish?
Yeah, see, it's that mob, it's the mob mentality. They have the whole regime. And by regime, I'm talking the political system, the media, the educational, academia, the entertainment, even, big business. They support them. They legitimize these rioters in the streets, and so they feel emboldened. The police were standing down. In Minneapolis, remember the whole the police station out there was fired by it was torched, and the cops were told to retreat. So now they're emboldened. Listen, bottom line is, man, you don't know who's capable of what. So if you don't want to get hurt, stay the F away from people. That's what. Don't get into people's face. Don't threaten them.
You want me to tell you something? I'm going to make this assertion. You know who's responsible for the death and destruction of the cities and the death that occurred there? The media.
Yeah.
The media and the politicians that bowed down to that, they are responsible.
No
and they should be held accountable. And they should be held accountable.
No question about it. The lives, blood is on their hands. And even now,
100%.
Didn't the mayor of Minnesota encourage them, the rioters? Didn't she encourage?
Yeah, several mayors have. The mayor of Baltimore did it too.
Well, the one of
Freddie Gray
of that state,
was
like encouraging them to riot.
Yeah, just let them get the steam out.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Right.
They destroyed. There's some people in these areas who that was their store was their livelihood.
Yeah.
And then these poor people are just trying to deal with COVID. And then they have these maniacs destroying everything that they had, that they lived for, they built for years and years.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that's okay.
I think that's why I said I just kind of tuned out, man, after 2020. It was like one obscene hit after another. You feel like you're the politicians and the media, they stoke the flames of fear. with the whole COVID cold virus, making people think it was the second iteration of the Black Plague or something.
Yeah.
Then they're encouraging all this rioting, calling the rioters mostly peaceful protesters.
Yeah.
And these are people, can
we go back to that for a second?
Sure.
That mostly peaceful protesters. Okay.
At Best Buy.
Yeah. Okay. That is just, I'm just gonna say this is so stupid. I'm not even gonna say it's irresponsible. It's so stupid and incoherent. Okay. You have a guy who, 23 hours and 30 minutes. He's good all day. And then he goes, grabs his wife, beats the crap out of her. Well, he's mostly a good guy.
Yeah. A mostly good husband. He's a mostly
a good husband. That 1/2 hour. Are you kidding me? This drives me insane.
One of these dopes from CNN, I think it was CNN. You remember last? It was the summer of 2020. There was a building on fire behind this guy, and he I think he's the one that called him mostly peaceful protesters.
And the thing's burning
blowing up behind him.
Yeah.
There's a whole dealership behind him. Cars exploding.
It was mostly peaceful, Okay.
Yeah, he was actually saying, well, it's still, they're mostly peaceful protesters out here, and you have buildings burning. I mean,
they're all running around with TVs from Best Buy and Target.
That's right.
Hey, Jack, do you think that, getting back to the self-defense aspect, I was thinking about something that you said, how you tuned out. Do you think that this is possibly a mental defense mechanism that people are doing? They don't want to accept the fact that they could get attacked, and they want to live in this false facade of security that it's not going to happen to them. I mean, I'm thinking that they're just trying to avoid it. I don't want to think about it at all.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that. Oh yeah, absolutely. With a lot of people, that's definitely like me. I mean, I made a conscious decision to, again, tune out as much as I can. I mean, but I just decided, I get myself so worked up. Even when you were about to play that media montage, I felt my insides getting a little tense before I saw it.
Yeah.
Right. It is. Yeah. I was doing this to myself because I was a political junkie from the time I was probably in my early 20s. Yeah. So I decided what I'm going to do from now on, and most of the stuff I've written about over the last 6-7 months or so has been martial arts stuff. So I decided I'm going to just try to focus on doing what I have the power to do, which is just improve myself. I can't improve the world. I can't do anything else about the world. I can try to help people in my immediate orbit, but that's it. But I think there's no doubt about it. People are afraid. And Phil, and we really can't. Al and I are actually going to be co-authoring a book. Mm-hmm. Something you probably appreciate. It's going to be about resurrecting the warrior scholar ideal.
Yeah.
And I've already written a few pages, kind of a synopsis. But what people don't like to acknowledge, and you don't hear this acknowledged really from anyone in who participates in the mainstream political discourse, is that fear is really underwriting a lot of our politics. A lot of people don't realize. I don't think a lot of people are going to come to terms with that. But it's so those who are selected for criticism over offenses that are slight, if there even are real offenses, are usually those who the accusers don't fear. Whereas those who they do fear, they're willing to back up. They're willing to make excuses for. I think there's a lot of fear going on, and I think, there's a lot of fear.
Look at all the people with the masks on driving around.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if 2020 didn't suffice to reveal just how much fear permeates the average person's life, I don't know what else will. And it's irrational fear.
Yes, there are irrational and rational fears.
Right.
The thing that you have to look at is, what fear is going to happen. To say someone is, not afraid of a situation, there's certain things that I get concerned about. Maybe it's fear, but it's how you handle it. It's how you manifest it. Like, look, if I'm sitting here and somebody's across from me and they want to do something to me,
you start feeling fear.
Exactly. But it's how do I handle it? And this is the thing that people just don't handle it very well. You can see with the whole situation, the pandemic, how people handled that and still are handling it. I mean, heck, they want to do mandates in the schools, and yet in state of New Jersey, since COVID began, ages of 5 to 17, there's only been 2 deaths of children.
I know.
But,
No. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to make sure I'm clear about this too. I'm not in any way trying to suggest that there's anything objectionable about fear in and of itself. No, I mean, I have fear and
we all
fear.
do.
And I when I'm working with people, I tell them, listen, I said, fear is both necessary and desirable as long as it's fear of objects that warrant fear. The kind of fear that we're talking about, though, is either fear that's irrational or it's fear that people have allowed to take control of them. So I say, you have to assume control of the fear. You don't allow the fear to assume control of you. That's the difference. And
100%.
And I think a lot of people, and I think we see this in academia. I think we see it in, you work in academia too, Phil.
Yes.
And I think we see this in politics, in the media. We see it among the intelligentsia. What we see is a lot of people, I think, who really are driven in large measure by fear that they're not willing to acknowledge. That they're not willing to acknowledge.
Yes, that's a very good point. They have this fear and they just want to put it away because they're so afraid of it. They don't know how to handle it. But you know what? If you go and train with someone like you, someone like me, we'll teach them how to address that fear and use it to your advantage, actually.
And that's why when I'm working with people now, what I say to them is, listen, I said, I don't care what it is. I said, everyone is dealing with their share of shit. So I said, everyone has, it goes back to when you were a kid. Everyone has something within them that's been a source of anger or fear. It's a lot of us, are kind of ashamed of that because we're not sure what to do with it. So it manifests itself in terms of anxiety, panic attacks, maybe depression.
Right.
I said, but when you train now, don't shy away from it, right? Embrace it. Embrace that pain. Use that pain as fuel so that you can make everything a focus of your will. So when you turn it around and use it to your advantage, it makes that's what drives people. But you just have to embrace it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, those are some great points that we have. You want to embrace that fear, harness the energy.
That's right.
And and I'll tell you what, everyone should be training in self-defense. So if you're by Jack, go by him. If you're by me, go by me. Go online. I have, we have have the whole Survival Strong video series online, and also the Survival Strong book. I mean, look, I guess it's definitely less than a gallon of gas.
It's a good book. It's a good book. You actually sent me a copy of that last year, I think.
Yes,
very good stuff.
Thank you,
yes, sir.
And we go over everything from mindset to training on your own with no equipment. And guys, this is something that you have to address. And for $20, and actually you can get a Kindle version for like $9, $9.99 or something. It's definitely worth the read. And plus, I put some funny stories in there too.
Well, but I think though, just stay on this theme of self-defense, if more people, more decent people, trained for real self-protection, right?
Yeah.
Combat, the powers to be wouldn't be able to get away with nearly as much shit as they've been getting away with. I think so it's people should train for self-protection for their own sakes and the sakes of their loved ones, but at the same time, socially, I think it would be beneficial if more people could really reckon with reality. And reckon with reality is, there's nothing that screams reality like getting punched in the face. Right? I mean, or striking someone. I mean, it really grounds you. And I think if more people are grounded, there'd be less self-delusion, less psychosis, and those in power would not have the easy time they've been having over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. So, Jack, we want to thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure, as always, to have you on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you, guys. And Dougie Fresh.
Absolutely.
We'll do our final plugs here. Don't forget about the Body Bell Method and philross.com. You want to check that out, and also Burn Along, but that's accessible from philross.com.
Nice.
Yeah, we got it all there.
Absolutely.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy
You
Thanksgiving.
too.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Right.
everyone.
Good seeing you. Stay in touch.
Always a pleasure.
You
Definitely.
too, Jack. Thanks, Jack.
And this is Master Phil with Master Phil in your corner. Strength